Emma Laurent is broken, and when built correctly with her best gear sets, she can become even better, as if you use a gear set like this, you'll end up struggling, but with a gear set like this, you'll make your Emma Laurent one of the best hunters on your account. So my name's Ollie Hart, and this is how to build Emma Laurent. So of course, when it comes to how to actually build a character, or just hunter in general, we got to talk about their best gear sets. However, when it comes to building Emma Laurent, there's just pretty much a ton of different ways that you can build her, because if you want to make her a DPS, you can run a DPS build, and then if you want to run her as just someone that focuses on supporting your team whilst just doing a ton of break damage, you can also build her that way as well. But let's start off with the supporting gear set, and I do think the solid analysis gear set is going to be one of her best gear sets, as on the 2 set effect you can increase the damage that you deal to enemies that are in the break state by 15%, and then the 4 set effect basically says when attacking enemies that have the elemental weakness, so basically with this gear set on Emma Laurent, so any enemies that will have the fire weakness, they will basically take 30% more break damage, so all of your skills that do break damage will have a 30% break effect increase by 30%, which is amazing. And if you want to go for a gear set that's definitely more universal and definitely you'll be able to use pretty much anywhere and everywhere, you'll be able to go for the Noble Sacrifice gear set, as you'll be able to increase your HP by 8% on the 2 set effect, and then the 4 set effect will decrease your own attack by 8%, but then it'll increase the rest of your team's attack by 8% as well. And then obviously because she is a HP scaler, it means that the attack decrease doesn't really negatively impact you, to be honest, so you're really pretty much just getting a free 8% attack increase for your whole team. And then for DPS builds, you can pretty much just use a lot of different things on Emma Laurent, because Emma Laurent is really good at spamming her ultimate, so you can use the one-hit kill gear set on her if you would like. And I believe pretty much whenever you use her first basic skill, which is burn up, you're able to get your core attack for free, which is going to be a big source of your damage. Is going to be through your basic skill 1 and also your core attack. So it does mean you could even use the solid foundation gear set, as considering she also has break damage on her basic skill, you'll probably be using a decent amount of basic attacks with her, unless if you're just constantly switching out between her, but that's still fine. But because you're able to get her core attack so quickly just through using her first basic skill, that means this gear set can actually help you benefit from quite a good amount of damage. And then of course, if you really want to, you could even run the toughness gear set. Most of these gear sets, you can just pretty much run any of them and they'll be fine. But with this gear set, you'll need some really good substats on your pieces of gear in order for this gear set to actually be effective. And then for accessories, there's just a whole lot of different things again that you can use. And if you want to continue making her sort of a more support based character, then the outstanding connection gear set will be the best gear set for her, because then you can get a 28% attack increase whenever you tag out into another character, so that's going to be really useful. So if you get her in, if you like lead with her, and then you get like another DPS like Hae-In in, you'll be able to benefit Hae-In with a 28% attack increase thanks to this gear set. And then I'd only really recommend one other gear set, which is going to be the Executioner gear set, as pretty much not really many other things like the Berserker or even the Concentration of Firepower I wouldn't really recommend too much, as I do think the Executioner gear set is just going to be the next best thing, as you can get a 20% damage increase when attacking enemies that have their HP stat at 70% or lower, which for me definitely makes it her best accessory set if you want to give her damage. So then when it comes to all of these different gear sets and accessory sets, you're going to want a bunch of different stats. So starting off with her helmet and HP, just any form of HP increase would be the best thing that you want. I have HP percent currently, and I do think overall HP percent will give you a much bigger increase as opposed to additional HP. And then for the body armor, of course, you'll always have defense, as well as with the gloves always having the attack stat. And then for her boots, it's one of two. It's either pretty much defense penetration or HP percent. I would definitely recommend HP percent more over defense penetration, but you can use defense penetration if you would like to, but I definitely think HP percent is a much better main stat for the boots. And then for her accessories, obviously the necklace will always give you HP, so you don't need to worry about that. For the bracelet, you'll want fire damage percent, because that's what her element is, so that's where you'll be able to get more damage from. And then for the ring, it's pretty much exactly the same as the helmet. Pretty much just anything that can increase your HP stat with some really good substats will be really useful. And then of course the earrings will always give you additional mana points. So then when it comes to the sort of HP scalers, their substats don't really need to be anything too special, as you don't really need the things like attack and attack percent, etc. As all you really need on her substats are going to be things like HP percent, stuff like that. And then if you're running a crit build, your crit rate, crit damage will also be amazing substats to go for as well. And then of course things like defense penetration and stuff like that. So then of course when you've got to also have a hunter, you've also got to have a really good weapon on them. And for Emma Laurent, there's actually a decent amount of choices that you can go for, as of course her best in slot weapon will be Night Thoughts, which is her exclusive weapon, which you can craft completely for free. And what this weapon will do will increase the damage dealt to targets affected by the break effect by 4%. And then finally, when heat absorption activates, the user's damage dealt increases by 1.5, which is like up to 4 times, and this is a permanent increase, so you can get some decent damage increases from it. And then her second best in slot weapon, I think, is going to be the Ancient Grimoire, as the Ancient Grimoire will just increase power gauge acquisition rate by 12%, all the way up to 32%. This is a really good weapon for HP scalers. And then if you're really struggling for weapons to put on her, then the steel staff, I guess, is another option, as basically whenever you use your QT skill, your power gauge is charged by 4.5%, which goes all the way up to 12% and is another HP scaling weapon. So on to skill level priority, and she has some very, very good skills that I would definitely 100% recommend you level up. And the first skill I definitely recommend you level up is going to be burn up, as burn up is literally your main source of massive amounts of AoE damage, so it's really good for all different kinds of content. Does really good break damage and does more damage when the use attacks a burning target. The damage will increase by 10%, and yeah, the AoE on this is huge. Then I'd probably recommend leveling up her core attack, which is Flare Strike. This will do weak break damage, and then it will also apply the burn debuff, so it works very nicely with her basic skill. And then I'd probably then recommend her second basic skill, which is Flame Cleave. And then from that point, it's really up to you. I think the ultimate and also her second basic skill, Flame Cleave, are all really good options, as her ultimate has a bunch of benefits that she can give to herself. And her second basic skill, Flame Cleave, is pretty much just a single target version of Burn Up. However, it does heavy break damage this time, but also has the same damage multiplier of 777%. And then the others don't really matter too much with her damage, as pretty much like her basic attacks, you don't really use as much because you're just pressing her core attacks most of the time anyways. And then you've got things like her support skills, which are really just meant there for the buffs that she does apply. And then the QTE skill is just to bring her in, do some damage, I guess. So it really doesn't matter the rest of what you level these up. The most important things you do just need to focus on are going to be Burn Up, Flare Strike, and then her second basic skill, Flame Cleave, as well as Burning Pride. Those are the four most important skills in her kit. So then when it comes to teams with Emma Laurent, I wouldn't really necessarily say there's like a specific team that you should really put her in, because she's pretty much just able to be put in literally any team ever, just because of what she does as a hunter, just in general. So this first team just consists of pretty much a core of two of the best hunters in the game, being Emma Laurent and also Jiwoo. These are some of the best hunters in the game and do a ton of break damage. And then pretty much when it comes to this team, all you want to then do is just then follow up with a DPS like Hae-In or Choi or Silvermane Baekhyunho to then do a bunch of damage as well. And then this team can work extremely well in certain scenarios. So then this next team is just a bit more of just a team to have fun with. It's not really something that's going to be like meta changing or anything like that. It's just pretty much because Park Hee-jin and also Emma Laurent can succeed in spamming their ultimate. So you've got those two characters for your damage, as well as your Emma Laurent for your break damage. And then you've got Min Byung-gu, because Min Byung-gu with the Destroyer gear set can help increase all of your party members' ultimate cooldown charge rate, whilst also being able to support with all of his buffs and damage and stuff like that. And that's pretty much it. Like, as I said before, Emma Laurent can literally be put into any team with any characters in the game, because that is just how good she is. She doesn't need anything too specific, and I guess it just shows how universal and versatile Emma Laurent really is. So then, of course, when you are using Emma Laurent, you've then also got to decide what 3 shadows you would like to use. And overall, I think the most universal sort of best shadow for her is going to be Iron, as Iron Shadow Authority will increase all team members' max HP by 6%, which can go all the way up to 10.5% once fully maxed out. But nonetheless, this increase is going to be really, really useful. And if, for example, you want to pair Emma Laurent with 2 other characters that are HP scalers as well, then it means you'll be able to fully increase your whole team's damage as well as tankiness. And then I would also say you could definitely lead with Egress, as if you want to go for just sort of a crit damage build, then obviously Egress's crit rate, which goes from 4% all the way to like 7%, I believe it is. Mine's at 5% because I've leveled him up a bit. Then you can use Egress as well, but overall I would still recommend Iron as your main Shadow Authority leader. And then the next shadow I'd recommend is just going to be Blades, as Blades just does offer a huge amount of AoE damage thanks to Frost Gazers. So with that combined with Emma Laurent's AoE damage, it means you'll just have a ton in general. And then the final spot, I guess, just depends on kind of what you're doing, as if you want a bit more damage or you need a bit more damage, then I would recommend Egress, as Egress has the ability to apply the bleed debuff, so you can do 0.6% of the enemy's current HP every 3 seconds. But if you're struggling to stay alive more so, then Tank will then be your next best bet, because then you can get the free 1-second stun through his skill Tank Press. But overall, I think the trio of Iron, Blades, and also Egress will be the best one overall. So there you have it. That is a complete build guide into Emma Laurent. Emma Laurent is a fantastic hunter, definitely one of the best in the game, probably second best hunter in the game now that Hae-In's released. But if you did like this video, then don't forget to like and subscribe, as it helps a ton, and then click the link down below to support me as a creator, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!